to 100% from STMN?
Yeah, I think dog walkers and their inconsistency is really attributed to their lack of experience in juxtaposition to some of the other squads out here that have been doing it for years and years and years together. As we see more and more dog walker competition, I think we'll see more and more consistency out of them. That's sort of what you learn from playing against some of the best in the business, like the Tribes and the Chazmax and the Staminas of the league. And so that's what we're going to be jumping into here right now. Kenny, as we sort of set the table, what's your thoughts as far as dog walkers' consistency and how they make it happen here in the finals?
Look, it's BSC competition. No, they haven't been consistent in other competitions, but ultimately they've won 2 in a row for a reason. I think this is starting to become part of their identity, and I think a real prove-it month. I feel bad for these guys almost. They've done it 2 times in a row, and I still feel like a lot of people at home, including myself, are going to pick up STMN. Should they be the favorites? Honestly, maybe. But again, I'm an analytical guy, and I still can't unsee what I saw from STMN, and the people at home are going to think similarly too. Dog walkers certainly deserve more love than that. I don't feel 100% confident in STMN, not because of that, but because of how well dog walkers have played in BSC.
Well, right now, we'll see. Well, don't got to ask the question. That's what we're doing here in finals. We're going to take a gander at some of these matchups. We say goodbye to Ready, Set, and hello to game number 1. Gene, the first selection overall as we jump into dry season here. Bounty, sure, a nice pull, can certainly put players down. And across the way, there's going to be a Penny.
Nice choice of Penny here. Colonel Ruff's the doggo joining in on the fun. This is an STMN brawler often picked. I think makes a lot of sense in this map too. There's a few different directions they can go with this, and also claiming this brawler, I actually really like. Sneakily, they could have gone with a Gene and Colonel Ruff's combo at the other side and gone for the old strategy F-Dot of just kind of pairing the magic puffs with the Colonel Ruff's star power allows you to passively build up your teammates' HP. Would have been a really dangerous combination. So not only do they get a solid brawler, they also take away from what dog walkers could have possibly done.
All right, a thrower here in the Barley, ton of damage, a little bit of mid control for sure, but curious to see who they pair this up with. Barley, not the best at following up off of a Gene pull. Here comes Otis. And so a composition fully charged here with that Mute Man on the other side. What's your take on Dog Walker's draft?
I think it's interesting. You know, Otis isn't the first brawler that came to mind for me here, but he's just really solid in general. I think the Fat Splatter gets you some extra area control too. Obviously, if you can hit his super shot too, still the Starfish can hit you with the mute button. And if you can't shoot your shots, well, it doesn't get you any kills. So I think overall, still a pretty solid composition. It's not the most traditional thing. Sure, I'm still not super used to seeing Barley in Bounty, but in this day and age of Brawl Stars, it is what it is, right? When these indestructible walls hit the field, naturally, a lot of these throwers have been buffed through that. Gray, though, a great way to try and answer the Barley with that teleportation.
And also, something that we saw on display earlier on, STMN in their semifinals, just the great teleport play was incredible. Sands was the one that was playing the black and white earlier on. We'll see if he's going to be reprising his role. I hope so. It was just fun to watch. And as we take the field, it's going to be Bobby on the gray with Sands in mid on Colonel Ruff. So a little bit of a swap here. Let's see what Bobby's got.
I think he's going to show some good skills here. The man has displayed time and time again that with those sharpshooter single shot brawlers, he can be a real force to be reckoned with. They claim the blue star, now backing it up just a little bit here. I feel like this map's been very defensive here today. It makes sense too, considering Sands is going to be trying to power up teammates with that passive star power that I talked about beforehand. But for now, Patchy can be able to just lob some shots over, a good super there. And Bobby's going to be even more powerful with extra HP and a super. Oh, and the big pull. That could have been really bad for Patchy.
I love how dog walkers are really making this comp work. This indestructible wall. Barley, if you play in the mid, not going to really do much because, well, there's not really much wall to leverage as a thrower. But if you push STMN onto their side of the map, you're really able to hide behind that indestructible wall and make things happen. Unfortunately for dog walkers and their fans, STMN battling out of their position. There's a pull out of the dog walkers, and Chino makes it 4-1 dog walkers.
Powerful plays for Dog Walkers, and well said by yourself too. Patchy's going to be able to take advantage even his spawn side with this 5-pronged wall that's indestructible. You got to be careful though. Pulls can be a factor. Patchy nearly getting claimed there once again. Does get tagged up, but now all three of them are going to be grouped up here. The penny turret was helping the cause a little bit. Sandbags on this right-hand side, and ultimately Dog Walkers are going to have to hold on to their 3-star lead here.
At this point, Stamina is waiting for the countdown. They've tried to play it, and now they've got to wait till it comes down to that last moment and go in for the all-in push. A dozen on the clock. Super on Bobby. There's the teleport in. He goes by himself. Everybody turns towards him. Czar from the left and Sans from the right. Nobody dead just yet. 2 seconds to go, and it's a kill on Stamina's side. Game over.
Not panicking. They've been in this spot before. They are hungry to prove themselves in this spot. I know teammate OG sitting on the sidelines got to chat with him this week. This is a matchup that they wanted to see. They're looking to prove themselves not as the best in just ESL, but in this BSC region too.
Honestly, for me in that game one, Stamina, the end wasn't even the difficult part. This is the hard part. When Dog Walkers have you where they want, like I said, on your side of the map, how do you respond? Stamina needs to really push up out of here. They're able to do so kind of easily here. Still no footing. Blue star in the pocket of Dog Walkers, by the way, and Czar in the pocket as well. A great pull and a great kill by the rest of them, 3-0.
Wow, Chino just showing up when it matters most. So talented with the gene pool, some maximum range certainly being displayed right there. Once again, STMN gonna have to try and make a little bit of a comeback. Over a minute on the clock, lots of Brawl left to go down, and Patchy gonna be throwing down the fiery flurry. It's gonna push Sans away as Bobby moves forward. Czar tries to gain his team some positioning. Dog Walkers once again gonna have to find their way out of this situation.
Now, last time we talked about how they needed to hit the last second play, but there's 40 seconds this time around. Stamina can just play this a little slow, look for the kills. Fortunately for them and their fans, the other way, Czar's deep behind enemy territory. No way he's getting out of there alive. Gets a nice trade, but it's still 8-2. Kenny, 22 seconds left.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one here. Dog Walkers now with 6 stars in their favor, and the countdown's beginning. This time, Dog Walkers not nearly feeling as much pressure as they did last time. Chino flashing a super, Patchy flashing a super, doesn't quite hit the pull this time. Now they're being backed into a corner. This could be an opportunity for STMN as Czar hits some piercing shots. Chino now marching it forward. Low HP, few stars going down and hitting the field for each side.
Kind of make things happen on their side until we go to a game 3. Put 2 on the clock. And the blue star is gone to the Dog Walkers. And this time around, a little bit more of a battle for it. As Charles gets pulled briefly, Sans is able to capitalize. Bobby steps up and grabs blue, and STMN has the lead.
They come out commanding right there. Bobby hitting shots. Czar was not getting a kill on that right-hand side, but Patchy was certainly feeling a world of hurt there. A pickup plus a blue star. That's exactly what you want to see if you're STMN. And now they're in the driver's seat with a lead, sitting comfortably behind these indestructible walls, and now an even more powered-up Bobby.
Waiting it out. Probably a scary choice for Stamina, but ultimately the right one, as long as they don't get pushed in. Bounty can be very passive, as it should be. But right now, Dog Walkers staying very active. Bobby with a missed pull. Good dancing shoes by Dog Walkers.
Yeah, the footwork is certainly something to watch right now. Everybody with some movement. A big pull through this time, though. Charles going to fall victim. It Sans with the pickup here. 4 stars on his noggin as well. Bobby with a teleport at hand. Chino going to need to hit some more big pulls here if they want a chance to walk away with this set.
And there it is. That's what we've seen Bobby try time and time again. The player kind of clips through the wall. There, the pull is successful. The player gets pulled on through. But now, half a minute to go. 5-0 for STMN. And Dog Walkers thought about getting aggressive, but then they stepped back. That second guess, honestly, I like the choice. Not a lot of, there was too much time on the clock to get that aggro.
Now with 15 seconds to go, Dog Walkers are going to have to do something about it. 7 stars now for STMN. They have been muted, though. Bobby slowly dwindling in HP. A pull going through, but it connects to the wrong object. It's the tar barrel instead. Charles low HP. Bobby with a quick pickup here can play defense for his teammates. And
that in this last one, certainly a team celebration. but we'll hit field goal here for Brawl Ball. Historically, Stamina's been pretty good here. They look for control. What's the take on the other side of the field? What do you expect out of Dog Walkers jumping into Brawl Ball?
You know, there's a few chaotic brawlers that I think could hit the ground here. I'm looking out for Willow. I'm looking out for Dynamite even. I think there's some crazy stuff that can go down. Instead, it's going to be STMN with a very safe and traditional M's. This map has been pretty crazy to watch in practices to see what guys are scrimming. This weekend, we've seen Willow show up several times as well. And Dog Walkers are a team that ultimately are going to play what they think is best for them. It's not always about getting the hardest counter in the world. Sometimes they just want to play what they're comfortable with. We saw that with the Sam that they picked earlier in the interview last month with Patchy. Yeah. He alluded to the fact that sometimes they're just going to do what's comfortable for them. And I think I trust their judgment at this point, especially considering they've got 2 grand finals wins already this year.
Without a doubt. Listen, like all tier lists are malleable due to so many variables, and I don't have enough time to get into it. But at the end of the day, comfort picks is a real thing, and you can bring your brawler up half a tier, sometimes even a whole tier, by just being better than the other than the opposition. And I think that's what we see sometimes with players like Patchy. I think that's what we see sometimes from Sans, even, to be honest with you, on some of the oddball picks. But Patchy going to be teamed up here with the Spike, so a lot of slow control on the side of Dog Walkers. Stamina on the response.
And so far, so good for both sides. I think very normal stuff, but I'm waiting to see if this calm enters a storm immediately after. You never know with these teams. They could catch us off guard. They've certainly done it before. Bonnie likely going to be their choice of mid here since they've selected this brawler. Going to add a nice little depth of range for them in this mid area. There's some narrow left and right-hand sides, especially those indestructible walls, but ultimately you do need a little mid to long range, and they do pick that up with both of these brawlers. Penny, Bonnie, 2 solid choices for me.
Last selection over here for the red team. Max is banned out. Interesting that both squads have banned out the Nita. So really, I've always seen Nita be very attractive in Heist. What makes her double banned here at Field Goal?
Couple things. One, to try and take down some beefy brawlers like Ash does really well into tanks, and also just a really easy one to kind of paint those left and right hand sides. And they do have a tank counter on the STMN side technically. Ems certainly serves as that role, but if Ash can get up close, it's all but over usually for Ems, especially when she runs out of those gadgets. So I think Dog Walkers, there's the Storm, man. That's the spicy pick. It's the pop off brawler. If it works, they're probably doing great. And if it doesn't, if STMN can keep Ash under wraps, it's probably going STMN's way.
Honestly, very fitting for Dog Walkers, kind of like the Sam, you know, if Sam does it, cool. If he doesn't, oh well. The Ash, kind of an all-in strat, unsurprised to see the difference maker be on Patchy as well. Dog Walkers on the bottom side of your UI in blue, Stamina on the top side in red, and it's Dog Walkers on the top side scoring against the opposition. Patchy just made it happen.
Patchy clashing with the former teammate there. Sans couldn't quite hang on, just so much HP to work with. And again, Ims is always going to be a safe pick, but it's never easy playing against a good Ash. Patchy now just lurking on this left-hand side. Sans is charged up a super. Bobby has one too. Once again, it's going to be STM on defense. We're going to get a little color correction here. It's going to be STM now on our blue side. They're down 0-1 to Dog Walkers in the red.
Big play, left side. Bobby with an important defensive kill on Patchy. If Patchy stays alive, it's likely the end of game 1. Instead, a little less than 90 seconds to go here. And Stamina have another shot to enter on in. Charles gets popped. And Patchy on the chase of Sar. Bobby's making sure there's no one for Patchy to pass to with the mid lane kill. Everything thrown out. And now, Stamina still pushing forward because they know no chance to score due to the respawns.
And Charles forced to throw down a super on the left-hand side too. They're all in their goal right now. Desperation super coming out of Patchy here too. And now this ball being dribbled forward. Sans may have an opportunity. Pivotal dodge right there and a nice pickup from Bobby. Zar has a super available, throwing down the penny turret. It allows him to bounce it back and bounce that ball in the net. Zar ties things up 1-1. STMN now seriously in this game.
30 seconds on the clock. Chino with the ball, passing upfield, trying to set things up, leaving Ash just a small amount of room to push up. Instead, Bobby's going to recenter. Here comes Sans, slowing things up. Bobby to the backside, takes down Chino, but Charles answers quickly. And Patchy just running it down mid, taking down Sans as well. Czar creating space, and the respawns. Charles is good. Bobby knows it. And
they're two-time Grand Finals champions this year for a reason. They are not letting Stamina off the hook easy.
Not at all. Love this play of the Dogwalkers. Again, a lot of space being created here for Patchy, and Patchy is executing with the space that he's given. B's going to slow everybody down on the defensive side, wait for a little bit of the heal, and Dogwalker's going in. Chino getting bit down causes Bobby to bite back, but all of a sudden, Bobby gets exploded, so does the rest of the team, and Dogwalker score early off of a calculated and meticulous plan.
These pushes from Dogwalkers have been relentless. Now Sugar Rush trying to just get something going for STMN. They're trying to juice them up with a little energy, with a little bit of a comeback. This is a good start for them. Chino falling in the low HP. Charles having to recharge on his own. Nice connecting shots from Czar, as now they're going to have some extra pressure with the Penny turret. Patchy, though, marching it forward, does manage to stay alive for now. A nice dump off from Chino, as Patchy's going to be able to pick up this ball. Bobby falls as a result, and now they can still play goalkeeper. It's going to be a rock and a hard place, though, as Patchy just has to dump it off to this left-hand side and try and guard it with his life.
Czar playing it safe there, not going all the way in. And the ball castled on the left-hand side. Dogwalkers have one, and they've got to last 70 seconds here. Patchy falling down to the hands of Sans. And here comes the Rats, and Rats off to you. Charles gets it. Chino walking down. Honestly, don't even have to do it, but you might as well. Trick shot's good. And again, that's what I was talking about. This composition is built to provide space for Patchy. Two players control, and you let the core go to work. But and that's kind of the team identity. But the other two players are not slouches. When I say role player, that is not a slight. It does not mean you are not a star. Charles, absolutely the star of that Brawl Ball match, and a big part of what makes his team this strong. Reset. Kaboom Canyon, and Amber's going to be our first selection overall.
It's the world we live in right now in Brawl Stars. Amber with a nice little addition to her kit. When you step on the fuel, you're going to get slowed down. So when she's on the field and alive, she can be a problem. When she's off the field and the supers and the puddles are on the ground, she's still a problem. She's just constantly lurking, constantly a threat. And quick drafts going through here. Everybody seems to know what they want. Meg, no stranger to this weekend. Bell back in action as well. And here is an 8-bit being picked into the Bell, which is a little interesting.
Hey.
Bounce shot can mess with the turret quite a bit.
My man Brock being selected here. You know, Brock's been one of these brawlers that there's a lot of talk about. People keep asking Brock, question mark, in chat. Finally selected here, Kenny.
Yeah, and I think for a good reason, too. I think there's a little versatility that Brock brings to the table. One, he does so much damage on that heist safe. It's something that every composition needs, in my opinion, in heist. If you don't have the it factor to get yourself some damage, you can play area control as much as you want. You can play defensive, but one little slip up in those situations, and the other team's just going to pummel you with heist safe damage. So Brock can use the jump gadget if he wants to get over walls. He can use it for wall break to get the map the way he wants it to be. A good counter pick here, though, I think. Sans could work into some of these single shot brawls. Amber going to kind of torture these spawners, so I think it's going to take some proper laning. They might just be looking more for Eve's ability to float over that water.
I think that's exactly what it is. Just allow her to be a little bit more mobile in this match. This might be the first draft where I think the better comp is the one without Meg. Agree or disagree?
Ooh, that is a spicy question. I think, Sand's going to be a solid choice here. Eve, again, I think into Amber, not necessarily the best, but I think it's going to be all about the laning. I certainly see where you're coming from, and I think I might side with you just a little bit here, but right now it's STMN.
If you disagree, say it, bro.
Maybe I should have just taken it back. Should have gone with STMN as a hardcore winner right there, because right now they're charging down the map, 15% lead.
Dogwalkers left the Meg open. Led me to believe they have a way to control it. Obviously, Patchy on the Amber can slow it down. but they used the defensive oil this time around. Stamina the only ones with damage so far, 15% as Meg 1 on the left-hand side. And now, see, Patchy has the oil in that left lane, slowing Bobby down. That's going to add a ton of control. But now it's up to Dogwalkers to turn that control, Kenny, into offensive prowess.
Yeah, and Charles now going to be the last line of defense on this left-hand side, and Bobby's going to get the pick up there. It does slow them down, but if they're ultimately winning the lane, they can still get up the map all they want. Patchy doing his best to deal with Bobby, but just so much HP to go against Charles once again in a very difficult situation as Sands gets a few chip shots on the board, and a continued lead here for STMN, now way past that 25% marker.
Tough stuff as Patchy is popped here. Bobby forced out of the mech. Charles puts down the stim, but taken down. Stamina still pristine heist box. Patchy, Chino, Charles unable to penetrate the defense of Stamina.
Strong stuff here from STMN. They are certainly fighting on this one, and sure, they've got Amber on their side for Dogwalkers. We love the Brock pick that they have. We were even complimenting him just a second ago, but Stamina shooting skills too much to handle right now. Charles been on this left-hand side in trouble all throughout this game. Now going to be forced away here as Patchy's doing his best, but STMN just refusing to back down right now.
Charles getting lit up by Bobby in the mech. See you later. And maybe on paper, you use the Amber to slow down the mech and just punish it. But we're here in practice, and I'm talking about practice. Bobby's out here, game time.
Oh man, it's looking like game time still for STMN too. They're just continuing to get takedowns, and Chino unable to do more than 3%. It was all the damage they had.
Saw what the conversation was in comms. You know, let them, sure, we'll bait them into a meg pick, and then we can slow it down, deal some extra damage with the 8-bit, and just chunk it. But no, Bobby's just killing you, man. Great stuff out of Bobby. Sands is also extremely accurate at the moment. Look at that. From a distance, and able to get it done.
Nice job to Amber there, picking up a kill, but still, it's just Bobby in a monster truck driving down the map. Finally, some action going down. Bobby trying to get his super. Going to be able to stay alive. 33 HP. Would have taken some insane dodges to escape that inevitable fate. Now Patchy just running away from a little 250 spawner. It's something that Eve can bring to the table. A lot of those little spawners can add up, especially with the boost that she got now, getting a fourth one of those as well. It'd be a real problem, so at times can still be a bit overwhelming, but right now,
nice.
Just once again, Bobby, same old, driving the truck, getting the kill, marching up the map.
Czar combined with Bobby there for heavy damage, and then also makes a defensive play. Czar in this mid on Eve has been really, really powerful. And all that said, this is still the first damage on the safe that we have seen all game. 7% by Stamina, much different than game number 1. Dogwalkers, I think, have not had the pressure this game, but they've still done a much better job of protecting their base.
Agreed. I think that's well said considering, but now it's starting to get out of hand a little bit. They need to catch back up to this mid area. Chino with the respawn certainly helps the cause. A rocket rain going down, but no takedowns. Not a serious amount of connections either. Ooh, Czar might be pieced up on this left-hand side too. Chino now forced away. The nest eggs doing a little work here to help out. Bobby, big pickup left-hand side. Charles forced to play defense on the right, and now it's right back in the driver's seat for STMN.
A little bit over half a minute, 18% done by the blue team. And again, just how do you deal with the damage out of Bobby? And of course, Czar is combining. It's just a long range, and Patchy's just unable to compete to do these diagonals.
Yeah, they even open up the map a little bit too. So Brock doing that for them. They can just hit these sharpshooter shots, and they've just been the better players so far. 10 seconds to go. This is not an undoable amount of percentage points, and Charles is going to do his best here. Here comes Chino. Needs some serious shots. Rocket rain on the ground.
That's enough.
Reach through. They pull it off. Dogwalkers.
Look to Colette for that, like, on-demand, oh no, I need the damage, just push the button. But Brock gets it done there.
Agreed. I think that's well said. And I think one of the reasons that you mentioned that you liked it so much in the draft, too, I think Brock is just really solid in general, right? Especially if you're hitting shots. If Chino can keep charging those supers, they can put themselves in positions to where he can launch the Rocket Rain. That's several percentage points like we saw there. That's really easy. Sometimes one push is all it takes, just like we saw. And Dogwalker's done a much better job in game number 2 on defense of preventing Stamina from really running away with it. If they can do that again and time things just right, Dogwalkers may have a fighting chance in this set.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially after the last one. Patchy trying to lock things down, but instead the left lane again winds up winning. Bobby, though, getting torched by Patchy here. The damage not enough to take Bobby all the way down, finally after the fact. And so 20% and counting, as Sands is able to find some shots as well. And the lingering damage on the ground. So 73% left for DW.
Nicely done there. Patchy certainly contributing to this game, but a strong start here for STMN in terms of percentage acquired. It's going to be Patchy now burning up Bobby. Going to be falling out of that monster truck momentarily, and this is where he has to make it count. Patchy already cycling another super here too. He can go ahead, drop it down, put pressure on the other side by having the fuel on the ground, or look for those kills that he's gotten earlier. Zar, though, just refusing to miss right now. Bobby back in the big truck, and now looking down the sidelines. It's going to be a kill on this right-hand side. Shots going down for Eve. One for Bobby as well. And now we're at sub 50%. This is where things can start to get really hairy for Dogwalkers.
And a much different game than game number 2. Dogwalkers now having to fight back against 60+%, a little bit different than 17 or whatever it was. It was sub 20, and so Dogwalkers certainly looking up at a mountain right now, as they have the lion's share of the damage to deal before they're able to match their opposition. Kenny counting down from 22 now. Dogwalkers have to make their push.
Yeah, and they're going to need all of this clock, and they need to start applying some damage right now. But Bobby is very healthy. Zar's hitting shots. Now they even have some hatchlings to protect the way. They're going to be trying to do their best. Shots going down from Chino. There's some percentage points, but they still have plenty to work with. And with only 5 seconds to go, it's not quite enough. A hero's effort there. 16% ultimately being
just astounded by these numbers here, man. Everybody killing it, but the accuracy out of Sands was on display. And we go to Crystal Arcade. We'll hit Hot Zone if Dogwalkers make this one happen, but it's gem grab time. And I have no idea who's going to take it, because even in that one, Dogwalkers put up a great fight. And so bans are out. Nobody wants to play against Ash and the RT ban on the other side. Cute of Dogwalkers to ban out the Sandy, by the way.
Yeah, and I think honestly an okay ban too. I think it's something we've seen a lot. Sandy is certainly a lot stronger than he was. Did get a recent-ish buff, not in this balance change, but in a previous one. And of course, the Rude Sands are a real problem. You can also go with the Healing Winds, so a versatile option at that. The Stunning gadget that he has too, putting the enemies to sleep. Sandy can be a real threat, especially when you have that first overall pick. You can kind of be a little bit more flexible what you ban, right? If you're STMN, you have to get rid of what you absolutely don't want the other team to take first overall. So they didn't necessarily have that luxury that Dogwalkers did. Instead, they go with a Janet and an IMS for STMN, a Penny pickup for the Dogwalkers. Ooh, and the big Meg entering the building as well. That's two very powerful brawlers to kick off this draft for them.
So, I mean, last time we saw Meg get through the draft, Dogwalkers were the one dealing with it, and, well, they didn't deal with it. Now it's STMN that have to deal with it, and I'm kind of eager to see how they decide to play against her. Ems and the Bonnie. We'll wait to see who the third selection is, but Dogwalkers finishing off their composition with a little bit of spike. And so some area control here. A nice look. Stamina on the clock.
I think it's actually a really wise decision from picking the Spike. I like Meg, obviously. She's been really good this weekend. It's something we can't harp on enough. But Spike's certainly somebody with as much DPS as he does. Historically, that's been one of the ways to address Meg. So they not only pair this together, there are a lot of aggressive, tankier brawlers that can also put a halt to Meg. And Spike, of course, since he can do so much damage, just can use that super and slow them down. It might make things a little bit easier. So kind of a 2-for-1 here is that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to go Daryl as a way to try and I think deal with this Meg. They're going to have to roll on the Spike. He's got that life plant though, so I think both sides kind of ultimately know what they have to do, right? When you see the Spike go down, STMN gotta still send it. It's their ultimate choice. Daryl was not the first one that came to mind for me by any means, but I think for both sides, this definitely makes sense.
Daryl. Kind of a classic here for STMN. Who wins the draft?
I think it's dog walkers. You've had me ask some really tough ones here, but despite last time what I said, it's all going to come down to gameplay, of course. But I do really like this Spike pickup. Got some great distance on the M's. Needs to keep some distance of his own now, but take away a counter into Patchy. Bobby's going to have to pop off with the Daryl. If he does, it could really go their way. And a strong start here as well for Bobby. Patchy in a lot of trouble now, going to be pinched here.
Wow.
A big pickup. And sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. Gameplay, ultimately all that matters.
That's a great play by the Daryl. It's exactly what he was selected for. If I'm Patchy, I don't give him that opportunity again. Bobby goes deep one more time, but it's defended by the dog walkers. I think Bobby was really successful because it was that wall play. P.S. Stamina's had mid control, 7-0 at the moment. Every gem going the way of Stamina till now.
Yup, and the longer this goes on too, the harder it gets for Bobby, right? Sure, he can charge up those super stills, but the more gadgets that he drops, it only gets more and more difficult. And now that Dogwalker's gaining control too, really the only mobility they can rely on are super. Zar has one where he can take to the skies. Bobby has one where he can roll on enemies, but Sans can have a real hard time here keeping up with the distance of somebody like Charles, like Chino, like the HP that Patchy brings to the table. But Bobby still relentless. Patchy holding on for dear life though, as now Zar's looking to clean up this kill, taking flight, doesn't quite connect. Dogwalkers very close to making this one a tie.
I want to say that Bobby needs more help going in, but I also don't think Bobby should ever hesitate. I think you need to kind of go super Patchy on cooldown, essentially, right? Like, that's the game plan, playing this Daryl. So far, it's worked out 9-6 for Stamina. Mid control is nobody's. As Stamina is fighting in it, they kill the gem carrier, and that might be enough for Stamina as Chino falls down. Oh no! Dogwalkers have 10 seconds to chase down Zar, and it's just not going to happen, as Sans does a great job of distracting the red team. And that's game one. Stamina, match point.
There, something that Shelly sure has a shotgun too. Why not pick Shelly? Well, Daryl can roll. Daryl can be more versatile in that sense. So I think not only a good pick, they had a handful of options, but Daryl was the one they ultimately chose, and they did it into a Spike too. Confidence and great gameplay coming from Bobby, and I think that's why they were ultimately able to take that first game.
A lot of homework being done here by Stamina. Meg winning the fight in mid. Bobby has the super and puts down the mech. Goes for the other side as well, and coast to coast, Bobby getting it done. And pinning as well. Stamina 6 gems to Dogwalker's none.
Oh, that was such a good play from Bobby, barely surviving that as well. Charles couldn't escape.
Barely surviving?
Either. And now it's Bobby as well. 8 gems in their hands. This is starting to get out of reach here as STMN are commanding this game number 2.
Well, big damage. This time it's Sans here. And just great use of the M's. 10 gems in the pocket. 3 on Bobby, 7 on Zar. So Dogwalkers have 2 targets. Sans is dead. Chino pushing forward on the right-hand side. Patchy with long range, not going to be able to catch up. And here comes Chino. 3 seconds. Zar's in the air. Bobby's tanky as all heck. And that's going to be it. STMN are your North American West victors for the month of April.
After being swept last month, there's some sleeping giants, right? They traveled to San Diego, they found their stride, and now they take it home, and they do so in the BSC2. Bobby just looks thrilled right now. Very deserving win. And again, they've been working very hard for this. San Diego finally went their way. They get it done in LAN, but NA West, they just